everyone. Welcome to Alligator Adventure. Thanks for being patient with us. We just want to make sure everybody gets got a good view of the show. If you haven't met me yet today, my name is Kelsey. To my left is my good friend Michelle. We are both zookeepers here. We will be feeding these hungry alligators for you. But before we do get started, we have to go over two very important park-wide rules that we have here just to make sure you guys are nice and safe while you're walking around and checking out all of our animals. So those rules, we do not allow anybody to be sitting or standing on these lower wood fences in front of you, and we do not allow any children to be up on your shoulders. Now, looks like everybody's all good on my side. How about down there, Michelle? Good? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for that. We really do appreciate it. Thanks for making sure you stay nice and safe. Please keep those two rules in mind as you walk around our park. They don't stand just for these feeding shows. We have these nice low wood fences so all of you guys can get a good view of all of our animals, but we don't want anybody's experience to get too close, especially when it comes to all these hungry alligators below us. But you guys are already all nice and safe, so thank you again for that. We really do appreciate it. So without further ado, we can go ahead and get started. So what are all below us are what are called American alligators. They are native here to the southeast United States. We're starting up in North Carolina, headed all the way down to the south of Florida, the Florida Everglades, and as far west as eastern Texas. Now the big guys that are below me, that one guy that just jumped for me, hopefully I can get this guy to jump too. Those are definitely some of the biggest males that we're going to have here at our park. They're definitely going to be pushing around 15 feet long. Now what we're feeding these guys is raw chicken. It's very gross and smelly to us humans. We definitely can't take this stuff down. It definitely will not sit right in our stomachs. Salmonella, not a good time. Wouldn't wish it on anybody. Definitely would not feel very good after handling your chicken with any of this uncooked raw meat. So it kind of sounds kind of cruel as to why we would feed it to these alligators. But believe it or not, these crocodilians in general, not just alligators, actually love this kind of food. About 50% of their diet normally consists of dead, rotten carcasses of animals out in the wild, or just rotten, decaying matter in general. Now the reason for that, if you haven't noticed already walking around the park today, crocodilians are very lazy reptiles. They really don't like to exert energy, especially if it's just not necessary. They don't really want to move, they don't really want to be active. They're not active in running around and playing like us humans and a lot of warm-blooded animals and things like that. They just don't have the energy to do that since they are cold-blooded. So with that said, taking down this stuff that's already passed away or decomposed out in the wild they can get their hands on is more bang for their buck for these guys. They would definitely prefer to go after something like this than to use the energy to take down a live potential prey. Now you'll also notice we're kind of focusing our attention on the smaller guys. Winter is coming. Game of Thrones reference, everybody knows that out there. But yeah, so these guys definitely got to get bulked up a little bit for that winter time, just so they can have a nice, easy, breezy winter. They do prepare their bodies. They'll go through a semi-hibernation period, but during that time, they don't eat anything for a couple of months. But as well, you'll notice we don't bring out a whole thing of a big, large bucket of chicken to make sure every single alligator out here gets a piece of chicken. Obviously, we have some on our other side. Not all the alligators in this pool are here at these feeding stations to get a piece of food right now. So a lot of people ask, how do we make sure everybody gets fed? These guys kind of rotate themselves in and out on their own. The ones that are the most hungry are going to be over here at these feeding stations. The other ones are going to be hanging around either on the other side or over there by the lemurs, not really paying too much mind to us. They are very intelligent, so they definitely do know where to come to get the food when they are hungry. So they kind of rotate themselves out for us in that way. But also these guys do not have to eat every single day like us humans. These guys are cold-blooded, like I mentioned, so they just don't burn through a lot of energy like we do. So they don't have to recharge or repower their bodies as often like we do. That's why we have to have 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks, goodies, all that good stuff in between, because we constantly burn through energy. We regulate our own body temperature internally. That's why we have that same body temperature all the time to keep ourselves nice and healthy so we don't get sick. But we burn through about 80% of our food energy to keep that same body temperature, where these guys rely on the outside environment to regulate their internal body temperature, so they don't have to do that duty, so they don't really have to constantly burn through energy like us. So normally 1 piece of chicken during a feeding show is enough to last these guys around a week to a week and a half before they're actually coming over here and feeling hungry, ready to use a little bit of energy, use that big tail of theirs to jump their bodies out to grab a piece of food. And on average, yearly, these American alligators only eat around 60 pounds of meat in a single year. That's it. That's no comparison between us humans, where these guys, we'll go through around 250 to 300 pounds of meat in a single year. And that doesn't even include all the good other stuff that we like to eat as well, like those veggies, fruits, pasta, snacks, all that good stuff too. So we definitely burn through our energy, so that's why we have to keep eating all the time, keep our bodies nice and hydrated and fueled, where these guys do not. Now even these big males below me, I actually don't really need to feed these guys anything during this feeding show. They have so much fat reserve on their body, these guys could go, if not an entire year, very, very close, without seeing a single piece of food and be perfectly fine, healthy, and satisfied. That's how energy efficient these animals are. But I'm gonna try and be quiet and see if I can get this one guy to do this really good pop sound like he's been doing all show. Oh, not that guy. Let's see if I can get this one. I'll be really quiet so you guys can try and hear that again. Alright, well, it was not too loud, but probably get the idea. Hopefully you guys heard it. That is the pure jaw force of these American alligators. These guys have one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom. So that bite down force is around 2,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. Like I mentioned, one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom. It's enough force to crush a brick off a building to dust in a single bite. But I am down to my last 2 pieces of chicken, so I will try and get these big guys to jump for me one last time. If you guys want to get any last minute photo opportunities, once Michelle's done feeding down there, that will conclude our show. Normally this guy here, his name's Bruce. He normally has a pretty good pop, so I can see if I can get him to jump for you. Sweet, so that was what I was talking about. That is how strong that jaw force pressure is. So Bruce rocks, thanks Bruce. So I'll have one more jump for you. Again, once Michelle is finished feeding, that will end the show. My name is Kelsey, her name is Michelle again. We're going to be hanging out right in front of the snack bar. If there's any